Well, this shouldn't surprise many people. The TSA fails over half the time. Hey, everybody, I'm Chad HD, host of the Chad HD Show, which airs weekday mornings, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 a.m. KFYO. According to ABC News, TSA fails most of their tests in a latest undercover operation at U.S. airports. According to ABC News, in a recent undercover test of multiple airport security checkpoints by the Department of Homeland Security, inspectors and screeners and their equipment or their procedures failed more than half the time, according to a source familiar with the classified report. When ABC News asked the source familiar with the report if the failure rate was 80%, the response was, quote, "You're in the ballpark." Well, that's good to know. In a public hearing following a private classified briefing to the House Committee on Homeland Security, members of Congress called the failures by the Transportation Security Administration, quote, troubling. Representative Mike Rogers went as far as to tell the TSA administrator, quote, "This agency that you run is broken badly and needs your attention." So, this story comes a couple of years, apparently 2 years after ABC News reported that secret teams at the DHS found that TSA failed 95% of the time to stop inspectors from covertly smuggling weapons or explosive materials through screening. Yet, they kind of get ticked off whenever you try to get nail clippers through TSA, or if you want to take a cigar lighter through, they'll catch that every time. So TSA failing about 80% of the time or so, at least according to one private source that is in the ballpark of this. It really shouldn't surprise anybody. TSA, hey, they really haven't prevented any terror operations. It's been citizens on board flights. Remember the shoe bomber? It hasn't really been TSA. TSA is there to kind of give you a hard time when you're going through security. They seem to, give you a hard time about, the smallest things. Hey, be sure to take those liquids out. You gotta be sure to take those liquids out. But they do miss things, from time to time. And you have to remember this for everybody, if you're traveling, and we're getting towards the holiday season. A lot of people will be traveling between now and the new year. The TSA, I look at it as a false sense of security. They're there to make you feel better. They're there to stop the obvious from getting through, but you still need to be knowledgeable, and you still need to watch your surroundings when at the airport or even on an airline. TSA, according to at least ABC News, far from perfect, and it shouldn't surprise anyone. It's a government entity, and as we've seen in other cases recently, the government tends to let people down and not be as safe as many would want them to be. TSA, a big failure rate, not surprising, but it's not a good thing. They need to improve. They need to, in my opinion, they need to stop hassling every single person who goes through, and they need to be on the lookout for a few specific items, maybe, when it comes to people who are going through TSA and going through those lines. But in the ballpark of 80%, missing the undercover, sneak throughs of whatever it may be, explosives, firearms, whatever it may be, that's not good. And a lot of people are being hassled, and TSA is not anywhere close to being perfect. Stay vigilant when you're flying. You never know what someone got on board that flight. Tune in to the Chad HD Show weekday mornings, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time. News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 a.m. KFYO. Follow me on Twitter, Chad HD Radio. Have a great